My good friend urged me to go to the hotel quickly to celebrate his girlfriend's birthday, but I immediately bought 3 boxes of Viagra and went to the hospital to make a scene. Facing the crowd, I raised the report and yelled that I still couldn't get an erection after taking the medicine for half a year. Soon, the video of me making trouble for impotence went viral on the internet, but I was beaming and apologized live. In my previous life, my good friend tricked me into going to the hotel to celebrate my birthday, but his girlfriend slandered me for bullying her. The police found my used child's condom in the room, and I collapsed and begged my good friend to clear my name. But my good friend showed the bruises on his neck and said that I attempted murder. I was labeled a perverted murderer and despised by everyone. My wife, who had just recovered from a terminal illness, was cyberbullied and jumped off the building to die miserably. After I was released from prison, I was blown to death in front of her grave, and my body was separated. What medicine did you prescribe for me? It hasn't worked for half a year. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the waiting room was full of noise. I squeezed out of the crowd and kicked open the door of the clinic and yelled. The eyes of the people around me were immediately attracted to me. I held up the diagnosis of erectile dysfunction and started recording the video to the doctor. Are you trying to cheat me out of money? I have been taking the medicine for half a year and still can't get it hard. The old man who was seeing the doctor angrily scolded me. Shameless brat. This is a place for heart treatment. What does it have to do with them if you can't get it hard? I immediately said that I was diagnosed with erectile dysfunction when I was seeing the doctor at this hospital. I used to be able to get it hard by taking a Viagra pill, but now the hospital's medicine doesn't work after half a year. Who else can I blame but him? Many people gathered around and laughed nonstop after hearing what I said. There were also a bunch of people holding their phones to take pictures of my embarrassment. I was delighted and held up the report to record it on their phones one by one. Come and see. What kind of crappy medicine is getting worse and worse? My wife is almost going to quit living with me. There was a lot of noise all around, and the old man's scolding was endless. Suddenly, the crowd automatically made way, and my wife was pushed to the waiting room in a wheelchair. Wednesday, what happened? It was time for my wife to go downstairs to bask in the sun. She looked pale and looked at me worriedly. I heard that something happened to you, so I hurried over. My mother-in-law pushed her in front of the mobile phones to prevent them from filming me. When I saw them, my heart trembled suddenly, and my nose immediately became sour. After she was released from prison in the previous life, she was left with only a cold tombstone, and I disturbed her last piece. I rubbed her head and said it was okay. After my mother-in-law pushed her away, I immediately picked up my phone to continue recording, but I saw the message from my good brother. Lee Jun, come to Orange Hotel tonight. I bought beer and barbecue. Let's celebrate my girlfriend Nan Nan's birthday. When I saw his message, I immediately shuddered all over. It was him who caused my family to be broken up. Holding back my nausea, I turned on the camera and continued to say that I wanted to complain about this bad hospital. They robbed money and killed people and made me impotent for half a year. I was driven out by the security guards in the quarrel. After calming down, I turned on my phone and sent a police message to the Public Security Bureau. Back in the ward, my skinny wife was lying on the bed, her eyes full of concern. Wednesday, they didn't bully you, did they? I shook my head and sat beside her, but my wife took out a bulging red envelope from under the pillow. Lee Jun called me and said that tonight he asked you to go drink with him, and you should pay back the 20,000 yuan you owe him. You two are like brothers, and he is getting married soon. We can't always owe him money. I was stunned. My wife has been suffering from cancer for 3 years, and the family savings have been used up. The money in her hand can only be the coffin money of her mother-in-law. At this time, another message came from Lee Jun on the phone, and I replied to him when I saw it. Nan Nan got angry with me because you borrowed money and didn't pay it back. You must come to coax her tonight. I held the money and burst into tears. In my previous life, after celebrating his girlfriend's birthday in the hotel, I took a shortcut home to make roast chicken and waited to sell it the next day. I was so tired that I fell asleep on the kitchen floor. I was arrested by the police before I woke up. Nan Nan sat on the floor of the police station with bruises all over her body, crying loudly, saying that I was angry because she asked for debts and bullied her, and threatened to die to force her to pay another 100,000 yuan. A bunch of people gathered at the entrance of the police station, pointing and talking. What a beast. He is a beast at first glance. The little girl is so pitiful. She was bullied like this even after borrowing money. I quickly raised my clothes covered with stains of roast chicken and asked to check the surveillance. But the hotel surveillance was lost last night, and the wires on the street next to my house were also cut. The police detected my DNA from the child's burp bag in the room, and all the evidence pointed to me. In a hurry, I collapsed and grabbed Lee Jun's clothes, begging him to prove my innocence. But he opened his scarf with a look of grief and anger, revealing his bruised neck, accusing me of wanting to strangle him to death, and then raping and killing Nan Nan. I fled for fear of crime after he woke up, and now I refuse to plead guilty with a bad attitude. He gambled away all the money for his wife's life. I kindly advised him to change his ways, but he wanted to kill us because we couldn't come up with 100,000 yuan. Lee Jun held up the chat record of me borrowing money from him, and his face was full of regret. All the slanders were thrown at me. People screamed and cursed me crazily, saying I was worse than pigs and dogs. I was sentenced to 20 years. My wife, who had just recovered from cancer, jumped off the building due to online violence, and my mother-in-law also died. After I was released from prison, I knelt in front of my wife's grave, crying bitterly, but the bomb buried by the righteous people below blew up my body. In this life, I will definitely do everything I can to protect my wife and make Lee Jun and Nan pay the price. Lu Wenjia, is that you? Someone called the police and said you were provoking trouble. Come with us. The police came in and said. I comforted my wife and followed the police to the police station. Because no substantial harm was caused, I slept in the police station for a night after being educated. Because of my sincere attitude, I was ordered to apologize to the doctor in front of the police. Lee Jun's messages kept coming on my phone, but I turned a blind eye to them. After handing over the self-criticism to the police, I sat and slept for a night. After waking up, my waist and legs were sore, but I was refreshed. There were police guarding all night to see how Lee Jun would frame me this time. The police changed into plain clothes and went to the hospital. They recorded my apology video and guarded the hospital to prevent medical disturbances. I got into his car. A crowd of people gathered at the entrance of the hospital. The police and I squeezed into the crowd. As soon as I relaxed, I was grabbed by the kneeling woman in the middle. He was the one who bullied me. Nan Nan screamed. Her face was bruised. Lu Wenjia, a family member of a cancer patient in X hospital, raped me and attempted murder and fled. The surroundings were in an uproar like boiling water. I quickly shook off her hand and said, I didn't bully you. I didn't even see you yesterday. She cried loudly, shouting that I was a rapist and murderer. I wanted to get away from her, so I turned around and walked inside, but was dragged down the stairs by someone. Lu Wenjia, you beast. Lee Jun's eyes were red, and he slapped me in the face. Inertia made me fall directly to the ground, and my face was burning. You kept saying that you wanted to celebrate Nan Nan's birthday, but you raped her. Your wife's life was saved by the money she lent you, and you used it all to gamble. Not only did you not pay her back, you even wanted to kill her. Who can you be worthy of? He raised his mobile phone to record my embarrassment, gnashed his teeth, and told me how I cheated them of their money, and pulled me to go to the police station with him. People who were watching the excitement crowded up and kicked me one by one. Scumbag should die. What a beast. His wife is terminally ill, and he still can't control that thing. He should be chopped off. Hunger and pain surged into my body, and I hurriedly defended myself. But as soon as I opened my mouth, a punch flew in my face, and a large mouthful of blood spurted out. There was dull pain all over my body, and the pain of being blown to pieces in the last life swept over my head again. The pain in my body was severe, and my stomach was churning. I arched my body and vomited, and only vomited a lot of blood. Seeing that something was wrong, the police pulled the crowd apart and helped me up with bruises all over my body. Lee Jun quickly squeezed over, his face full of sorrow. I've considered you my good brother for 20 years, and this is how you treat me. He pointed his phone at me and the police. Brother, I've called the police. Don't feel sorry for him. Turn yourself in, Lu Wenjia. The police raised his hand to block his phone. A hint of impatience flashed across Lee Jun's face, but he also looked like a victim, saying that I refused to plead guilty. He was in the police station all night, the police said. You are his accomplice, Lee Jun said angrily, raising his phone to slap the police's face. The police pulled out his ID and pressed it against Lee Jun's phone. Li Jun paused, his fingers trembling slightly, and then he immediately shouted that he came to the hotel yesterday afternoon. He knocked us out and then escaped. He hurriedly tore off his scarf, revealing a large bruise on his neck. He wanted to strangle me to death first, and then rape and kill my lover. My neck was almost strangled. Nan also ran to him at this moment, crying bitterly. He took off my clothes as soon as he came in. If I didn't give it to him, he would beat me to death. I had to give in to survive, but I was still beaten to death by him. She pulled open her clothes, revealing large bruises. I lost my innocence, and my husband and I almost died in his hands. If Lu Wenze runs away, I will not live. As she said this, her eyes were fierce. She screamed, kicked her legs, and rushed towards the pillar, but was stopped by someone. The public's mood immediately became high. People helped her up and persuaded her not to think too much about me, a scumbag. He is the one who deserves to die. Girl, you have to live well, and send him to prison. This policeman is in cahoots with him, and he sent him here. The world is going downhill. In a panic, I caught a glimpse of a white coat and immediately shouted, Doctor, I am the one who was looking for trouble yesterday. He is the doctor who was in the cardiology department yesterday. He can testify for me where I was yesterday afternoon. I tried to break out of the encirclement with my hands and feet and find a doctor to testify, but the doctor ran into the hospital without any response. Li Jun grabbed my collar and shook it proudly, saying, Don't quibble. Who will give false testimony for you? He took out a used child's burp condom from his pocket and almost shoved it in my face. I kept the evidence after I woke up, just to expose your lies. He held the condom in the air and turned it around, then brought it to the police, saying, Mr. Police, we have all the evidence. Are you still going to protect him and make us, the victims, feel disappointed? The crowd became noisy and supported Li Jun. Many people raised their phones to call the police. Li Jun sneered, slapped me a few times, and then threw me to the ground, like throwing a sick dog. In the trance of severe pain, I felt something fall out. The crowd was quiet for a moment, then it boiled like boiling water. Countless fists hit me, as if they were tearing a piece of rag and punching and kicking. What a beast! He actually carried Viagra with him. Who would believe that he didn't commit a crime? You still carry this thing with you? You rubbish should be shot. Shoot, shoot. More and more people came to spit at me, yelling at me to die. My body felt like it was broken, hungry, thirsty, and painful, and I gradually lost consciousness. When I woke up on the hospital bed, my wife was sitting in a wheelchair holding my hand, crying, but before I opened my mouth, she struggled to hug me and said, I believe you. Wenze, you are not that kind of person. When I was in a coma, the memory of my previous life flashed like a horse and finally fixed on my wife's tombstone. At this moment, the portrait and the reality overlapped, and my heart was full of pain and anger, and I hugged her tightly. But then, the door of the ward was opened, and a group of policemen with higher-level uniforms came in, holding condoms and Viagra and showing their credentials. We are the police sent by Province X. Mr. Lu Wenze, someone reported that you attempted rape and murder. Please cooperate with the investigation. They handcuffed me contemptuously. My muscles were injured all over my body, and it felt like tearing pain when I moved. However, my wife's imported chemotherapy drugs had not been bought yet, so I went to the only pharmacy that sold them. After searching through all the bags, I collected 6,000 yuan. But the pharmacy clerk took one look at me, snatched the drugs from my hand, and threw me a pile of crumpled banknotes. Sorry, we don't sell drugs to trash. That was my wife's only life-saving drug, and using it an hour later would delay the disease. With a bang, I knelt down and begged him to give me my wife's life-saving drug. The clerk handed me the drugs and wiped his hands, saying that this beast still had a wife, and your wife's illness was caused by your sin. I held the drugs tightly in my arms. People on the street walked away in disgust when they saw me. Even though there were policemen around, a lot of things were thrown at me, such as watermelon peels and rotten eggs. Back in the ward, I turned on my phone. The old phone was stuck and hot, almost exploding, and it took 5 or 6 minutes to relieve. As expected, the topic of my attempted murder dominated the hot search list, and countless bloggers came out to speak for Nan Nan, and Li Jun held up his ID card and asked for severe punishment for my video, which received millions of likes. The comment area was full of shoot to death. At this moment, he was broadcasting live, showing Nan's injured body and holding up a DNA certificate that the test was the same person. My personal information was dug out, and all kinds of ghost pictures and photos were flying everywhere. After turning off the phone and handing the medicine to the doctor, a policeman with 2 bars on his shoulders walked into the ward and showed an arrest warrant. The evidence is all there, and the fact that you raped and killed is a foregone conclusion. Wait. Hatred, anger, and grievance surged in my heart. I pulled out the report with my scarred hands. I was wronged, and I couldn't get hard at all. I was taken home to get the test report. Before I got home, a foul smell hit me. The warm home was now in ruins. The sign of Lao Lu roast chicken was smashed to pieces. The wall at the door was covered with feces and urine, and my photos were pasted all over the wall. My anger grew stronger, and I stumbled towards the store that my wife and I had run for 5 years. Before I could even stand still, I was splashed with swill. If I had known this would happen, I would not have done it in the first place. The policeman sarcastically said, "Use any tricks you have, and don't delay our work." I walked past the shabby counter in silence and dug out a stack of medical records from under the bed according to my memory. The policeman snatched the medical records with disdain on his face. But as he looked at them, his face fell silent. I was taken back to the hospital. I ran around in various clinics for examinations all morning. From time to time, someone spat on me and hit me deliberately with a cane. Everyone stayed away from me like a wild animal. The police from the provincial team monitored me while I was checking. As the test reports came out, their expressions became more serious, and the case investigation came to a stalemate. I was so tired that when I sat down to rest, the sound of gongs and drums almost exploded in my ears. A bunch of people were beating drums and gongs at the entrance of the hospital. 3 or 4 banners were raised high with the words "Severely Punish Murderer" and "Rapist Lu Wenze." Li Jun was standing in the middle, holding up his phone and shouting indignantly. I turned on my phone. Li Jun's live broadcast room already had more than 1 million people. His eyes were red, and he kept telling me how I bullied them. He was flooding the comment section with comments, and some even sent out the location of the hospital to seek justice. I don't ask for my money back now. I just ask everyone to do justice for me. Even though there are witnesses and evidence, Lu Wenze still refuses to plead guilty. If he cannot be severely punished, then we have no face to live. Li Jun desperately asked for help in the live broadcast room. The anger of netizens was unprecedentedly high. My wife, who had just finished chemotherapy, posted a video to seek justice for me, but the comments below were all cursing her to die soon. The captain of the police force uncuffed me and announced that I was temporarily innocent, but I needed to be guarded by the police. I realized that the time had come. After changing my Douyin account to my real name, I fumbled to open the live broadcast. Almost instantly, more than 100,000 people poured into the live broadcast room, and countless dirty insults appeared on the screen. Along with the sound of Li Jun shouting downstairs, I played several videos of Li Jun seeking justice. The scum owed money and raped and killed the creditor's girlfriend. I regarded Lu Wenze as a brother who had shared life with me, but he wanted our lives. Lu Wenze gambled away his wife's life buying money and stretched his claws to his own brothers. The emotions in the comment area were even more excited. Many people walked around outside the ward and glared at me. I stood in front of the camera and smiled bitterly, opening a crumpled piece of paper. I did not rape or attempt to kill Li Jun's girlfriend, because I, Lu Wenze, had complete erectile dysfunction and could not get hard at all. 3 years ago, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. From the day of diagnosis, I worked day and night to make money. 2 years ago, I fainted and was diagnosed with myocardial ischemia and liver and kidney dysfunction. Because my wife's disease was more important, I didn't treat it much and continued to make money. But a follow-up examination 6 months ago showed that I had a serious heart condition and severely insufficient kidney function, which led to complete erectile dysfunction. As I spoke, I took out my medical records over the years under the camera and put the diagnosis of erectile dysfunction on the top. On the day of the incident, I was taken to the police station in the cardiology department and returned to the hospital the next day. The police were watching over me the whole time. The police station in City X can testify for me. Viagra is the medicine I use to treat heart disease, and I have relied on it to survive all these years. The 2 policemen in provincial uniforms behind me made my live broadcast room look more credible. I struck while the iron was hot and found the video of the DNA test. The police test results also showed that my DNA was in the condom, but I did not touch his girlfriend. The sperm in the condom was secretly hidden by him a year ago. A year ago, Lee Jun told me that if the sperm donation was successful, there would be a subsidy of 1,000 yuan. After I passed the physical examination, he asked me to help me transport the sperm because I was busy with business. That's how the DNA in the condom of the child in his hand came from. Soon, the entry of the rapist Lu Wenji's erectile dysfunction rushed to the hot search. Within a few minutes, someone released the video of my confrontation with the doctor, which helped me provide an alibi. The comment area was silent for a moment, and then a random blowout of doubts broke out. I could still hear Lee Jun crying downstairs. I calmed down and pointed the camera at the police. I believe the police will prove my innocence and let everyone see who justice belongs to. After that, I left the live broadcast. The live broadcast slices were flying all over the sky, and the screenshot of erectile dysfunction instantly soared to the top of the hot search. A group of viewers swarmed into Lee Jun's live broadcast room. You directed and acted in this case yourself, right? Lu Wenzi couldn't even get hard. How could he rape you? Yes, the video of Lu Wenzi on the day of the incident looked exhausted. How could he beat this man who was as fat as a pig? The noise downstairs was getting smaller and smaller, so I got up and went downstairs to buy food for my wife. Lee Jun saw that something was wrong and cut off the live broadcast and turned around to run, but was pressed to the ground by the crowd. The sound of police sirens came from a distance. When I went downstairs, I happened to see Lee Jun and the gong and drum team being escorted to the police car together. After looking at him, I smiled and said, "You will suffer for your own sins." People around me still avoid me like snakes and scorpions, but malice is replaced by doubt and pity. The aunt who threw watermelon rinds at me yesterday stuffed a watermelon into my arms and said, "This is for your wife, don't eat it." Lee Jun admitted the fact of framing me that night, and the police immediately announced my innocence. However, Nan Nan's whereabouts were unknown, and Lee Jun refused to reveal her whereabouts, and the case began to stagnate again. I put this matter behind my mind for the time being. The chemotherapy drug my wife is using is very effective, and her late-stage condition has begun to show signs of improvement. Many people wish her a speedy recovery on the platform. I took advantage of the popularity to renovate the store and started to cooperate with the factory. I made roast chicken during the day and live-streamed the goods at night. Within half a month, the reputation of Lao Lu's roast chicken spread, and at least 500 roast chickens were sold every day. I recruited 3 new clerks to help. At the starting point in the evening, I gave the roast chicken that I made poorly during the day to a poor fellow villager and started live streaming. But before I could say a few words, my mother-in-law called in a hurry. "Wenzi, something happened. Many people got poisoned after eating our roast chicken." Police cars and ambulances rang all night. Hospitals across the city were filled with patients with food poisoning. My hands and feet were cold, and half of my hair turned white overnight. All the roast chickens were inspected by me. Those that could not be sold were given away or used as fertilizer. How could there be food poisoning? The police quickly came to the store and detected aflatoxin in the unmarinated roast chicken. For a time, videos of Lao Lu's roast chicken being poisoned by food were popping up like mushrooms after rain, and countless marketing accounts began to speculate maliciously. Lao Lu's roast chicken was found to have aflatoxin. It turned out that the roast chicken he sold was moldy. It is said that Lu Wenji is a gambler and his wife's life-saving money was used for gambling. He was willing to treat his wife only after making money. Otherwise, how could he get better after 3 years of treatment? Shocked, Lu Wenji gambled away his family property and bought sick chickens for secondary sales to reduce costs. A local internet celebrity posted a video of Lao Lu's roast chicken poisoning a pet dog, which triggered another crusade against me by the masses. I explained immediately, but my account was blocked before I could say a few words. The store was sealed, and I was again under police supervision. My property was frozen, and my wife's treatment was forced to stop. When I went out to buy medicine again, my aunt who gave me the watermelon stopped me. "You are really not a good person. Give me the money for the watermelon, 50 yuan. She glared at me fiercely. "My son ate your roast chicken and vomited and had diarrhea all day. You are so heartless." That's right. I wanted to pity him, but my grandson had a bloated stomach after eating it, and it hasn't healed yet. Yes, no wonder he has so many problems. Gamblers are not good people. People around me were talking about it. My face was burning and painful. I took out the money to buy the medicine and left. When I left, the pharmacy clerk spit loudly behind me. I returned to the ward and hadn't sat down yet when I heard another shouting from downstairs. Pay money, pay money. A group of people holding banners and holding flyers in their hands shouted loudly at the door. The unscrupulous boss paid money. On the leaflet, I was portrayed as a Japanese, and the roast chicken in my hand was covered with mold and viruses. That night, the video of Lu Wenjia losing money swept the platform again. I explained to the police feebly that I did not use sick chickens and did not participate in gambling. But the cold handcuffs handcuffed me again. The captain of the provincial team was jealous and personally participated in the investigation of this case. The entire roast chicken industry chain was strictly monitored and sent to major institutions for testing, but the results were all healthy and met the standards. Only the refrigerator where the chicken was stored in my store was found to have problems. But there was no aflatoxin in the refrigerator, and those toxins seemed to appear out of thin air. All this made it clear that I was framed, and the police reopened the case to track down who the poisoner was. Just when I thought I would recover again. Innocent, the police arrested a habitual gambler. In order to atone for his crime, the habitual offender provided a photo of me participating in gambling. The person in the photo was wearing the same clothes as me, with a very similar figure and even the same hairstyle. The half of the face exposed and the degree of the neck leaning forward were almost exactly the same. The gambler explained the games I played and the amount of money I gambled. He explained it clearly, and even took out the money I lost to him. 200,000 in cash. The police detected my fingerprints on the cash. I was taken to the interrogation room, but as soon as I entered the door, I screamed. Wang Xiaohu. The police kicked me from behind. Why are you making a fuss? Seeing a gambler in the police station, you want to gamble again. I didn't respond, staring at the decadent man with tattoos all over his body in front of me. Wang Xiaohu is my fellow villager. He lost his father early and was raised by his mother. He stole chickens and dogs when he was a child. When he grew up, he came to the city with me. I haven't seen him since he was arrested several times. Who are you? He was drunk and squinted at me. I am your father. I broke free, jumped up and kicked him down, and was pressed into the corner by the police who rushed over. I have no grudges against you. Why do you want to frame me? He sat up again and raised his middle finger at me contemptuously. The police sent the photos for comparison. Wang Xiaohu and I were locked in the same guardroom. Late at night, his snoring was deafening, but I was so worried that I didn't sleep all night. Okay, don't sit there and pretend to be a ghost. As soon as the patrol police left, Wang Xiaohu suddenly opened his eyes and crawled to my ear. We are from the same hometown, and I will tell you this. Lu Wenjia, someone above wants your life. I was shocked, and before I could say anything, he crawled back to his bed and fell asleep again. After a sleepless night, I couldn't figure out who wanted to kill me. When my family woke up the next day, my face was swollen like a steamed bun. Before being convicted, family members can come to the police station to visit. My mother-in-law and wife have brought me food. Every time they came, Wang Xiaohu would turn his head to the wall. A 30-year-old man. He was like a little kid who hadn't been weaned. I slurped down the fresh soup and threw him a piece of stewed bone. He cursed and said I wanted to poison him, and started to chew it quickly. But before he had finished chewing a piece of bone, an old woman knocked on the small window. Wang Xiaohu kicked the wall in dissatisfaction. Who was this blind man again? Mother. The white-haired old woman handed him a whole, charred roast chicken. I looked closely and found that it was the old woman I often helped. I jumped up and looked at her. She was stunned and stuffed another roast chicken into my mouth. Xiaohu, this is your brother Wenjie. When you are not at home, he always gives me a lot of food and daily necessities. You are in there to take care of your brother. There was an earthquake in his eyes. It was you who often helped my mother. I nodded. Yes, after your mother moved there, you never went there to take care of her. I could only take care of her. He threw the bone in his hand and said, Brother Wenjie, I am sorry for you. That photo is fake. The person who wants your life is called Nan Nan. I stood still. The inexplicable accusation of gambling and poisoning me was all this woman's fault. After the old woman left, I immediately applied to talk to the police and took Wang Xiaohu, who was willing to testify for me, back to the interrogation table. Wang Xiaohu was involved in a local underworld with considerable power. He was afraid to go home to avoid retaliation and became addicted to gambling. Because he owed too much debt, he was often ordered to do the dirtiest work. A few days ago, the person who gambled with him was arrested, and a small leader found him and asked him to go in to give false testimony to frame me. That person had a girlfriend named Nan Nan. It was said that she had committed something recently. In order to please her, the leader asked me to bite Lu Wenze to death for gambling with me and losing all his wife's money to buy her life. The photos were taken by someone pretending to be in makeup, and those poisoned people were probably made by him. Wang Xiaohu said with his head down. Through Wang Xiaohu's words and the background of the photos, the police quickly found clues about the activities of the small leader and Nan Nan. In less than 3 days, the two were arrested in a KTV. When Nan Nan was taken to the police station, she was in a trance, and the fishy smell on her body could not be covered. Wang Xiaohu grinned and laughed, and he was high. She will have a hard time now. When she passed by my room, she suddenly grabbed the iron door and pressed hard against it, with a crazy look on her face. Lu Wenjia, you are finally caught, and the shop belongs to me. After a tap from the electric baton, she fell down limply. After interrogation, she confessed all the facts. Nan Nan and Li Jun had been in love for 4 years. During this period, Nan Nan cheated on this little boss and was deceived into getting involved in tobacco. Li Jun didn't dare to provoke the little boss, and he had to feed Nan Nan with tobacco, which was not enough to make ends meet. So he set his sights on my shop. I have no parents, and as long as my wife and mother-in-law are dead, he can get the shop with the debts owed to me and him. My innocence has been proven, but the problem of roast chicken poisoning has not been solved. The police cleared me of suspicion of poisoning and gambling, but the food safety issue of Lao Lu's barbecue has not been resolved. People frowned when they mentioned my roast chicken. I counted the money I earned, applied for a new account, and started live streaming again. Some time ago, I was framed, and Lao Lu's roast chicken was poisoned, which harmed everyone's life and health and had a negative impact on society. I am willing to take responsibility for this. In the past half-month, anyone who bought roast chicken from me, provided a purchase record, and came directly to the store or platform to find me, I will give each person 1,000 yuan as compensation. In one day, there was an endless stream of people coming to the door of the store to ask for compensation. The IOUs accumulated on the table became more and more, and the money in the drawer became less and less. The money earned these days is just a drop in the bucket, and I am once again in huge debt. It was not until the afternoon that a customer squeezed in when I was holding my mobile phone to pay. Boss Lu, when will you sell roast chicken again? My daughter-in-law has severe morning sickness, but she can only eat this bite of yours. She can't eat when you close the door these days. Your roast chicken is very delicious. My son can eat 3 bowls of rice with it. You can't blame Boss Lu for the past few days. Others are jealous of his good business. If the thief is so thoughtful, he can't prevent it. People around him echoed. At night, my sincere act of compensation was uploaded to the platform and became a new entry again. People rushed to spread praises. The reputation of Lao Lu's roast chicken quickly reversed. The entertainment company found me and signed an internet celebrity plan with me. I reached a direct cooperation with a high-quality chicken farm and applied to the bank for 800,000 yuan in arrears. I bought 2 shops around and prepared to expand the shops to make money to repay the debts. When I received the news of the demolition of this street, the relocation and demolition payment of 3 million yuan for 3 stores allowed me to pay off all my debts overnight, and there was still a large amount of money left for my wife's follow-up treatment. After my wife recovered completely, I started to build an online brand directly, leased land in the suburbs to start large-scale production on the assembly line, and soon became a famous roast chicken brand in the local area. Countless reporters and TV stations interviewed my achievements. The name Lu Wenjia went from being shouted by everyone to being praised in the streets and alleys. At the same time, Li Jun and Nan Nan were prosecuted. In the second year of Li Jun's imprisonment, I went to visit him in prison. The brother I once thought could survive now had sunken eyes like an octopus, and his face was covered with bruises from other prisoners. You are capable, Lu Wenjia. He grinned and showed his broken teeth. Your wife is gone now, and that old man is almost dead. Don't forget how good they are to you. Go down and accompany them early. I suddenly felt relieved. I took out the photos one by one and showed them to him. My wife is plump and white, and there are photos of our family of 3 traveling abroad. Lao Lu roast chicken was praised by the TV station, and the turnover reached 1 million per day. I was invited to various lectures to teach students how to defend themselves and start a business. Li Jun's eyes widened until he saw the turnover. He pounced on me like a loser, grabbing the thick glass and trying to snatch the paper. When he was dragged away by the police, his fingernail marks and saliva were still on the glass. When I walked out of the detention center, my wife called me. Our adoption procedures have been approved, and we can adopt a child soon. The sun was shining brightly, so I got into the car and continued on the smooth road ahead.